I was taking less pictures, but the pictures I was taking became better because I was more mindful. This is not a video to discourage you from shooting digital at all. I'm just saying that you should give film a shot. Why would I do all that? Tutorial Tuesday. Yeah. Hello, I'm your host, Wolf, and this is the top 5 reasons why you should give film a shot. Number 1 being, I learned a lot of patience shooting film coming from digital photography. When you're shooting film, when you're shooting film versus digital, you're counting your shots more because you only get 36 shots per roll, or 24, or 37, or 25 if you're really careful with loading your camera. But the point being is that you have a limited roll of shots versus a memory card that could take as many as as there is space on the memory card. So the first thing I learned was patience, counting my shots, and actually being more mindful about what I take pictures of, and it has taught me a lot about improving my composition, timing, and overall I'm just in the moment more than I used to be, where I could just take 100 million pictures with my digital camera and then go home and sort it out later. Now I have to actually really be in the moment and be a little bit more mindful about what I'm shooting. The next point, which is cost. A lot of people, that'd be the main thing that everybody wants to ask me, or that they comment on, is, oh, you shoot a lot of film, you must be rolling in dough, or, oh, you shoot a lot of film, man, I couldn't do that, that's just really expensive. And from a certain viewpoint, it can be very expensive, but I like to think that we adjust for the things that we want in life, right? So just let's do some simple accounting here. Simple math. If this camera, which originally I got for $60, $70, not even, I think 50 on, this is before film was really popping again. I got that for $50. Now, if you're really crafty or you're lucky enough, you can find a thrift store that has them, or you can go on eBay or other sites like Mercari, or there's a bunch of sites where you can get film cameras for reasonable prices. And then you look at the cost of film is generally between $5 to $15 for like your regular rolls of film. So doing the math on that, you can kind of work out that yes, it is not cheap, but if you're going to get a camera that can shoot the same quality as any of these film cameras, you might end up finding that the price on those cameras are way higher than any of the film ones. For example, my Nikon Z5, which I'm shooting this video on now, cost me about $1,300 when I bought it at market value. It's gone down since but not very much. And yeah, any camera that can shoot the quality of film, for the most part, is going to cost you a pretty penny digitally anyway. Whereas film, you can find them, and people get all hung up on the name brands like Leica and Yamamiyas and obviously Nikons, but I found that even just, random cameras that I never would have even thought. For instance, this Franca Solida, it shoots medium format, and it shoots it just as good as my Mamiya. The difference is that I have to work a little bit more on the focusing, but the quality is there. And that camera only cost about $50 on Mercari, but easily I could resell it for about $200 just because of the quality of it. The film that goes into it is about $10 a roll, $15 a roll if you're getting medium format. That's, you know what I'm saying? Add that up over time, you still don't even come close to the price of a digital camera. So you're saying, why would I go through all that? I would just pay $1,300 for the convenience of not having to deal with film. Well, I can't argue with that. That is a very good point.
Got him!
But I will say, the difference between how the images are made give you different quality images. Now, the way a picture is made with digital is there's a sensor involved and it reads the light in front of you. I'll put a video here for a better description. and it doesn't hit the since the light is hitting a sensor and it's pretty much copying what's in front of it. The image is going to be, what's the word? The sensors aren't always as accurate as you would like them to be when the light is either too bright or too dark. You know what I'm saying? So, for instance, if the light, I've noticed on my cameras anyway, when I'm shooting something on my digital camera, it's very hard to bring things back from when they're overexposed. It just blows out all the highlights and everything is just very it's just an unusable picture. But when I use my film camera, that same exposure, overexposure, doesn't affect the film as negatively as it does the digital sensor. I can, even when my pictures are toasted, I can still make out an image and I could even chalk it up to an effect. But on digital, it's just a bad picture. And that's the difference is, one is as accurate as it may be, it doesn't have the soul, and again, that goes back to how the image is made. While the sensor is accurate to a point, the way film photography accepts light is different because of the chemicals on a little plastic strip of the film, and how the light hits it is basically burning the image into it. You hear people say, I notice there's a lot of warmth in the film, and I believe that that's where it comes from. I'm not a scientist though, so don't quote me on that, but I would like to believe that since the light is physically hitting the thing and the process is literally burning it into the film, I think that has a lot to do with the softness in the focus or how the image looks versus digital. Which brings me to point 4, experimentation. Don't be afraid to experiment with your film. I know I didn't explain to you, the film is not as expensive as you may think. And there's also cheaper rolls if you're shooting in black and white. A lot of those start at $5. So don't be afraid to, make some film soup, like meter by eye, overexpose, underexpose, push your film, pull your film. There's no end to various experiments that can lead to very interesting results in your pictures. Not only that, the wealth of knowledge you will gain through doing things wrong or experimenting with different processes will never leave you, and you can transfer them to your digital work later on. Which brings me to point number 5. Have fun. This what this is all about. When I started, I was just so overwhelmed with work and trying to figure out what I'm going to do next with my digital stuff, and I was in the middle of a 365 challenge, and I figured, fuck it. Let me shoot some film. I've been shooting digital for most of my career. Let me just try it out and see what happens. And after the first roll, I just was like, wow, I love these results. I love the softness of the light hit on the skin. I loved being in a moment more, interacting with people, talking to people, and not focusing so much on just the pictures and the camera. And I was more in the moment, and I was taking less pictures, but the pictures I was taking became better because I was more mindful about them. And the whole while, I was still enjoying myself and having fun. So the main takeaway is, don't worry about the cost, because you're going to be shooting less pictures over time, but they're going to be better pictures versus 100 when you just pick it out one. Don't worry about getting the right camera. They're all pretty sweet. I've had various different ones given to me, and they all work well. They're all different than I've ever expected. So don't worry about getting the right camera. Don't worry about the cost. And just have fun and experiment and learn more about photography. I feel like in the end, those are the top 5 reasons why you should give film a shot. I have, and now look at me. But that's it. This is a relatively short video. On the next video, we're going to go over film versus digital. And you may be thinking, I thought this is the film versus digital. This is not the film versus digital. This is just why you should give film a shot. On the next video, I'm going to give you more examples and the differences, and maybe even some of the history on how photography was started, and give you a little bit more of an understanding when I said they were. Did you know that it was started by scientists and engineers? And but for this video, I just want to give you a brief outlook on why you should at least entertain the idea of filming. And yeah, that's it. I don't want to keep going. So I'll catch you guys on the next one, which is October 20th. It feels very long away. It's October 18th. And that's going to be film versus digital. So no more. Bye. Enjoy yourselves. If you stayed this long in the video, leave a like, subscribe, follow, share this. You know, all the good stuff to help the algorithm, because they be trying to kick my butt. But other than that,